Means I'm looking at your underwear and your pants at your knees and you looking like you coming off the auction block. And they was like, oh, well, hey, whoa, wait a minute now. What you trying to say? I said, I ain't making no judgment. I'm just making an observation, brothers. I'm just making an observation. Now, the beautiful thing that happened, brother sitting right up in front. As soon as I showed the picture, because it looked like they sagging in this picture on the slave ship, right? You can see underwear and then you can see pants. He stood up and pulled his pants up. I say, score one for the Africans. Man, but this is where we at. This is where we are. Our children need our attention. They need us to show up. Be present. Even if you don't give a presentation, just show up. Be in the space. Change the energy in the room. They need our teachings. The minute I put up slides, and I was using images, you know, I worked hard at this. I was like, come on, y'all gonna see something in here. And I used an image of Malcolm and his transformation from being a little kid as Malcolm Little all the way through to Hodge, Malik El-Shabazz, who his friends were. And one of his friends was Cassius Clay, who became Muhammad Ali. And even the white folks use that story. The Super Bowl coach brothers, the Harbaughs, I saw an interesting documentary about them, and their brother-in-law who coaches for University of Indiana. They wanted to be Michigan last name, Michigan fans, I don't know. But they used a story about how do you get respect. How do you get respect? And they used a story of Cassius Clay fighting Ernie Shavers. Because Ernie Shavers was like, before the fight, you Cassius Clay. I ain't gonna respect your name, Muhammad Ali. What's that? Cassius Clay, Cassius Clay, Cassius Clay. That's okay. Anybody who ever saw that fight? That's like, I can't say what it was from here, but that was a whooping. And the deep part was, the whole fight, he was like, say, what's my name? Bam! Like, and he do a little shove, he said, what's my name? Bam, bam! And for the first couple of rounds, he was like, Cassius Clay, Cassius Clay. There was a point when Muhammad Ali hit him so hard, he like he was gonna knock him out, and Clay held him up. He gave him a minute to compose himself. He was like, no, you ain't falling down yet. No, you gonna take this. So by the 12th round, it was like, Muhammad Ali. What? Muhammad Ali. So these coaches, they tell this story. Ray Lewis, I heard this story a bunch of times. Stanford players used to hear this story. Indiana players hear this story. They say you earn respect. You gotta earn respect. You gotta make people call you an African. You gotta make people call you an African if that's what you want to be called. They ain't gonna just do that because they want to. They gonna be like intellectually. I ain't saying go out there and hit nobody in the face with a right hook, but I'm just saying, you gotta make people respect who you are, safe and sound, to be self-mastered. This week, Hadia Pendleton was shot and killed in Chicago. This week, Hadia Pendleton, little girl waiting on the bus, wasn't bothering nobody, trying to get out of the rain, trying to be free from the rain, got shot and killed. It's troubling. Anytime any of our children lose their life on the other end of a handgun, to be safe, to be free from fear, physical pain, and abuse, we owe our children that. We owe our children safety, among other things. Intellectually, spiritually, physically, we owe them safety. They depend on us for that. That's what those boys in Quentin's class come to that class for. They want to be in an environment that's safe for them to be themselves. And he's creating that. It's hard work. It's hard work. But he's creating that. And sound, the safe and sound, to me, sound goes to, what are your values? Do you believe in true justice and righteousness? Do you exercise ma'at? Do you think it, speak it, and do it? To be sound in your character, to be sound in how you treat other people. To know that things are not important, that the covetous things are abandoned in the mud. But it's the ship of the self-master person that goes forward each day. So how do we help our children to become safe and sound so they can sail with the wind? When every day In every city we live in, we turn over at least one of our children back to God, back to the ancestors. The immutable pain and grief and sufferation takes a toll on our spirit as a community, as individuals. We can't just see this and be okay. It's not normal. It takes away a bit of our hopefulness, a bit of our joy of life. And we know the causes. We know the methods. We know the basis for the loss. But as a community, we still have not squarely faced the mandate of our generation. The mandate of our generation that with all the will, the spirit, the power, and the love that we have for our people to make it safe and sound for our children. We have some of them, but it's not enough. We have some of them, but it's not acceptable. It's not acceptable to have our children inside this building be safe, but our children on the block be worried about getting shot. It's not acceptable. And there is something we can do. We got to think and act like the people of Montgomery. When they wanted to integrate the buses, they didn't sit around and wonder who was going to do it. They said, we going to do it. And people did the best they could with what they had. Dr. King was a spokesperson, but Joanne Thompson was the person who got the 35,000 mimeograph flyers. See, I'm saying a lot, and that's just a little mimeograph. Some of y'all don't know what that is. Hand cranking 35,000 flyers with that purple ink to make, and had a team though. Was already organized to do that. We got to think and act like the people of Selma. They didn't get the right to vote by sitting around wondering what we're going to do, how we're going to make it happen. We got to think and act like the people in Birmingham. Even when they killed the children in the church, the people didn't give up. Ashe? It's Black History Month. It's African History Month, African Heritage Month. We call it what we want to, but this is an opportunity for us to teach us at every level, because we do it all the time. We can double up, double down during Black History Month. We got to think and act like the people of Memphis. Sanitation workers were treated as less than a human, and they said, I am a man, in a situation where people didn't want to treat them as men. We got to be thinking and acting like the people in New Orleans did when Ruby Bridges was integrating that school. We got to think and act like the people of Sharpsville in South Africa, or Soweto, or Watts, or West Oakland, or any number of places where people took their future into their hands to make their children's lives better. Hadia Pendleton. The reason it's hitting, I got friends in Chicago and I'm going to see in a couple of days. I'm actually leaving here today, going to Baltimore and D.C. for a set of meetings, one with the National League of Cities. They're looking at the young black males crisis and the homicides that are happening all over the country. The 2025 network that's looking at how we as black people tell the real story and advocate our positions on things like gun control. But it's time. Hadia Pendleton is important in Chicago because this was a middle-class child that got killed. Right. See, it's deep. Because in our community, we can kind of be okay with little, quote, knuckleheads on the block shooting each other. But when a little girl who goes to Jack and Jill and is in the band and is an A student and goes to private school, she was in inauguration, performing inauguration. When that little girl died, people in Chicago have been in stress about it. It's interesting. They weren't as much stress when the little brother got killed because he was on the way to school and they beat him up with the 2x4s because he was in a bad neighborhood. See, something's going to bring us together. And it's unfortunate, it may be the blood of our children. Sad to say. It took Emmett Till's death to galvanize us in 1950s. After all the stuff that happened, but that child's death was almost sacrificial. It made us pay attention to what needed to be paid attention to as a community. So we have to think long and hard. What is our role as Woze? We're a small community in numbers, but what is our role to create this safe and sound situation? It's time to get the guns off the street. It's time to get the guns off the street. To be safe and sound and sail with the wind. It's time to teach our children to respect life. It's time to sail with the wind, be safe and sound. It's time to make law enforcement, Oakland, work for us. Time to be safe and sound. Not work on us, work for us. It's time to educate for hope, health, and happiness. It's time to sail with the wind, be safe and sound. It's time to call not snitching cowardly.
That's right.
It's time to call not snitching when somebody shoots somebody on your block and you don't want to tell nobody. It's time to call that cowardly, unmanlike. You punked out.
That's right.
When we gonna do that?
That's right.
We got the code, snitch, and the police department can't solve no murders. They solved 24% of the murders in Oakland last year. 130 people got killed in Oakland last year, and only like 30 things got 30. We know who got shot before the shooting happens. We work in our community enough to know who shot who and why. We know this. It's time to call not snitching cowardly. It's time to tell the NRA to go to hell. Y'all don't represent no significant number of Americans, and certainly not in our community. It's time to tell them. And see, nobody wants to stand up to them.
That's right.
Congress don't want, your elected officials don't want to stand up. Where's, in all due respect, I ain't heard nothing from the NAACP. I ain't heard nothing from Urban League. I ain't heard nothing from the Kappas. I'm a Kappa. I ain't heard nothing from the Deltas. I ain't heard nothing from all these organizations that say they represent black people. Where we at? Belafonte called folks out in the speech he gave a few days ago. He said, where we at? Come on. If you was Christian, they used to sing that song, where were you when they crucified my Lord? Where are we when our children die in the streets? I'm just putting it on our minds, because I'm concerned. It's time to turn enemies of our community out of our community. Some people posturing as like, oh, I love the black community. Not based on your action, you don't. It's time to work, study, fellowship, meditate, and pray, and stand up, to act out, to say something. It's time for a new peace to be written across the sky. Sail with the wind. Be safe and sound, brother.
It's time to stop blaming other people for things that are under our control.
It's time. Ashe. Ashe. Rejoice not over riches gained by robbery, nor mourn because of poverty. If archers in front advance too far, then their company abandons them. The boat of the covetous is abandoned in the mud, but the ship of the self-mastered person sails with the wind. Pray then to Amun-Ra, to God, each day as the sun rises, saying, grant me prosperity and health. And God will give you all you need in life, and you will be safe from fear. Ashe. I'm going to ask Brother Katabasi if you would come and lead us, and I beg your forgiveness, but I got to dash up out of here. Pray for my travel, and I will see you all next time. All right, brother. Thank you.
Yes, yes. Good afternoon. We'll say we're are going to be going forward and as soon as with the conclusion, but we want to have an opportunity for everybody to deliver their contributions before we go to our various places and various games. And I also wanted to take a few minutes to add that yesterday at West Oakland Public Library, we had an event that kicked off Black Studies. And the theme of that program was 150 years after emancipation and 50 years after the March on Washington. And Brother Kanara, Paradise, myself, and some other local poets were there to share in that. And it was a very good celebration. Yeah, and I was pleased to be able to share the program with Brother Kanara, who is a great poet that I admire mightily, as well as Brother Paradise. So this is the time known as the Litany of Sacrifice, and it offers us an opportunity to give back a small portion of that of which we have received. And I see Brother Bakare is at the altar. And has everyone had a chance to deliver their offerings? I don't see the offering basket anymore. It's floating around? Okay, great. And I know a lot of people are needing to get to various places and the Super Bowl parties and all that. And, and that's all good. Yeah, that's all good. We can be excited and about things at different times. Somewhere in your vicinity, there should be a placard card similar to this one. And we could all stand next to someone that has a card and read from that. So, and Sister Kara is collecting those sacrifices, those offerings. And Brother Kukepper is running around getting things together as Brother Bakare stands by at the altar. We're very pleased to have these young people to be a part of our services and to participate. Mashe. Brother Tayamba plays on the piano. Let us read together. Save us, O Holy One, by your name. Vindicate us by your might. Hear my prayer, divine protector. Listen to the words of my mouth. How can we repay the Holy One for the gifts that have been given to us? We will lift up the cup of salvation and call upon the God of our ancestors. We will fulfill our vows to our Creator in the presence of all our people. Gladly we bring our sacrifices to you. We will praise your name, O Amen Ra, for it is good. Umoja, unity. We shall strive to maintain unity in the family, community, nation, and race. Kujichagalia.
Self-determination. We shall find, name, create, and speak for ourselves.
Ujima, collective work and responsibility. We shall build and maintain our community together. Our brothers and sisters' problems shall be ours to solve together. Ujima.
Together we shall build and maintain our own businesses. Together to profit from them.
Nia, purpose. We shall make our collective vocation the building and development of our community and the restoration of our people to our traditional greatness. Kaumba, creativity.
We shall do as much as we can, in the way that we can, to make our community more beautiful and beneficial than we can inherit.
Together, Imani, faith. We shall believe with all our hearts in our Creator, our people, and the righteousness and victory of our struggle. Amen Ra. The candles burn brightly on the altar, representing the 7 principles of the Nguzo Saba. Kneeling pads have been laid at the front for those that wish to come forward for word of prayer. Others, you may assume a comfortable position at your chair. I will take a few minutes to bless these offerings while Brother Tayamba continues to play at the piano. Holy One, divine ancestors, we thank you for our lives. We thank you for making us human. We thank you for this place called Wose and for each and every one gathered here this afternoon. We ask, O Holy One, that the needs of each and every one here be granted, and that each and every one and their families have a safe week as we leave this place and go to homes and to different places. Go in peace. Grant protection and safety, O Holy One. Bless everyone that gave contributions. Bless any and those that did not give, or those that wish that they had given more. We ask likewise for blessings, O Holy One. Blessings upon each one, their families. Blessings upon their households, O Holy One. We know that we live in dangerous and unpredictable times, and so we're always looking and seeking peace and harmony in our families, in our community, and on the street. Bless our minister as he travels across the land. Grant him protection and blessings, O Holy One. And O Holy One, at the end of this service today, we ask that you allow each and every one to return once again to this place called Wosay, that we may continue this work, the work of restoring the people and building a community. Be with us, O Holy One, throughout the day and throughout the week. Grant peace, blessing, and health. We ask these things not in vain, but in the remembrance of ancestors that sacrificed so much, endured so much, that we may stand in freer times with the sun shining on our faces. We give thanks, O Holy One. We remember. Ashe. Amen. Ra.
Lead in on Lift Every Voice. Rejoice. Those of you who missed it today, next week is the last class of African history that Baba Gray has been teaching. He's doing an excellent job. Awareness and knowledge, things that he's been bringing forth. And then on the 24th, Professor Manu Ampem will be teaching African historian, bringing forth a class on African historians. There's only going to be 4 sessions, so please take advantage of it. You have to get in on it while it's hot. All right.
I have a few announcements too. The Anarchy Affairs newsletter is out. I think most of you got it, plus a little update. And there are some print copies back there for people that can't print it out at home. Don't take it if you can print it out at home, please, because it's just a few of them. Okay? So that's one announcement. And it's the newsletter plus the update. That's back there on the table. And a few other things about what's happening with Black History Month. There's so many things going on, okay?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's fine.
and most of those I tried to include in the newsletter, okay? And then, the Pan-African Affairs Commission needs to expand because there's some upcoming projects that we are gonna be working on. One is a film screening that's gonna take place here March 3rd. The second is an update of the farm project with the Carlson family. And the third one is putting together a set of speakers, including maybe Joy DeGree, you know, when she's here in town. So, those of you that have a few minutes, as we get our food, maybe we can meet up here. Those of you that can join the commission, or who can help in any kind of way, we certainly appreciate that. But once you get your food, we'll meet up here, okay? Or maybe about 15 minutes, it ain't gonna take long. Thank you.
Just very quickly, when I said that the clothing label is going to be coming out, it's very simple. I say it's very serious, very powerful clothing label. It's sold instantly well over $300,000 worth of product, and that's not profitable for those themselves. However, in saying that, what the company is doing is building, help to build schools, help to give back. Definitely to either on there, I'm working out the percentages, I'm talking to business people as well. So, put some good love out for that company because it's very positive. It's combating, again, a lot of the negative stuff, and, I'm looking forward to you all having a look at some of the things. I have things here that you can actually have a look at and see where it's actually going.
For Sister Pam.
Come on up here and say
Where's Connie? Connie. Over and over. Over and over. we do with one
Take it out.
another. We're just
Take it out. We're just.
friends.
We're just.
We're just friends. We're just
Brother Kennard.
I was asked to do a poem, so I'm going to do something that's recently been written. But I want to also say there's another designer that's in the house that's coming out with clothing label by the name of Kemet Wear. And this brother here, I met him, Mahunde, in 2006. And we connected, reconnected a few months ago. No, actually about a month ago. So we're actually going to be bringing some things together. So he's a great brother. So this piece that I'm going to do that's just written, 1, 2, oh, there we go. I want to write a poem that speaks truth. And regardless of what you think you know or irrespective of what I let you in on, there are some things that must be said. As I've laid my head down to rest on pent-up thoughts, even though at times emotion seems lost, trapped inside like unclean stained glass needing to be washed around old timber wooden window frames supported by cracked, chipped, dried up paint. I want to write a poem with softly pressed keyboard computer strokes, similar to the strokes of piano black and white notes, followed by analytical vibrations, tasting logical thoughts as the left hemisphere does its thing to balance out the right side of brain waves. I want to write a poem that'll take you way black. I mean, so far back to when I can remember the smell of ethyl gasoline prices or petrol was 37 cents a gallon. And along that same time, my Uncle Walter had that 4-speed green GTO, and life seemed easier than they are nowadays. Now check this in, because some things you want to check out. You know, like when afros and picks were in the mix. Do you remember the one with the John Carlos and Tommy Smith Black Power fist that picked at what those ideal Janaeos now call kitchen naps and kinks, because finally hot pressing combs have now pressed out that natural strength. I want to write a poem one day that will express the deep hidden vibes like the broken pride of a man who in the depth of his darkness alone he cries as his cheekbone meets salty dry tears. Although he tries not to show his fears, Mr. Macho won't let it go. Because he is larger than life, that's right, that's his ego. I want to write a poem while laying down liquid ink between horizontal lines, filling up no longer white spaces, chasing sketches of patent thoughts borrowed from adrenaline, running through my veins as it reaches my fingertip. I wanted to make complete and perfect sense by the time the phonics hit your inner earlobe, connected to earwax, now melted because the canal which travels down to your throat has a clear passage of heat from these brown lips, speaks to seek membranes like mouse made Easy Rawlins nervous. Like the 5%ers should make you sit up and take notice of nationwide homicides and malicious, like in a Walter Mosley, fictitious but actual, factual thriller. I want to write a poem that explains the uses of the term cracker and its origin. You see, it came way back, black, when Europeans were beating the crap out of men and women with sticks and whips that made the sound of crack, or when that cracker cracked you upside your head with that black billy club, or when billy club ancestral stolen generations of Moors and Kuris. They once roamed their homeland by the millions. Now they're down to 1 to 2%. Don't slip. See, I would never let you forget about the history or her story, but you want me to forget or not talk about it. Please stop. Nope, not on my watch. Telling me that that pain happened too long ago, or that I have the same rights as anybody else. Come on now, don't fool yourself. It's a shame how the politicians be straight out poly-tricking and poly-pimping the nation on illegal made-up wars and bailing out the bank. Tell me, why in the world does the bank need any help? Interest rates continue to rise. Tell me, why is gas so high? And it keeps going up. Yet the average worker's wages continue to deteriorate. Now, ain't that about something? The cost of living or the cost to live ain't no joke. These non-spiritually and mentally dead want to rule all things, or controlling or forming a one world's government right underneath our noses. But the masses are asleep, and many of the awakened ones are too scared to speak up. Yet you expect me to keep my mouth shut because it's making you feel uncomfortable. I want to write a poem that'll literally have a line in it that say, I'm sent here to shake and rattle your comfort zone. Just like Yale University Skull and Bones Society is a branch of the secret Illuminati's, the fake wannabe powers that be, who's afraid of me and my DNA.
I'm the head and the center of the majority, and Europeans are truly the minority. But the trickery of the psychology and the hypocrisy is once again being cut up, dissected like sushi by me, exposing truth to lies and crimes committed against the Aborigines, yep, the Maoris, genocide of the native black Tasmanian distant cousins of the Africans, and why? See, when Europeans circumnavigated the globe and came to the realization that outside of Europe there were nothing but people of color on that globe, that meant Houston, we have a problem. A problem of being annihilated, and that's why the hatred and attacks against people of color, particularly blacks, is so high. Oh, my genetic makeup is so high of melanin, you're afraid of me, and that's why the ultimate goal to reach is genocide by chemical and biological warfare. White supremacy must come to a halt, plain and simple. We have a job to do. I want to write a poem. Thank you.
Stand up for your rights. Come on now. Get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight. Get up, stand up. Stand up for your rights. Get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight. Let me see if I got this. A preacher man don't tell me his goal. Yeah. And half the story has never been told. Now you see the light. What you gonna do? Stand up for your right. Come on now. Get up, stand up. Stand up for your rights. Come on. Get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight. Get up, stand up. Stand up for your rights. Get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight.
Most people think great God will come from the sky.
Sky.
Take away everything and make everybody feel high. But you don't know what life is worth. Right here on earth. Now we see the light.
What you gonna do? Stand up for your right. Come on now. Get up, stand up. Stand up for your rights. Come on now. Get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight. Get up, stand up. Stand up for your rights. Get up, stand up. All time. Don't give up the fight.
Well, I'm sick and tired of your ism, schism. Gonna die and go to heaven in Jesus' name. We all know and we understand that the living God is an African. Or you can fool some people sometime, but you can't fool all the people all the time. And now we see the light.
What you gonna do?
We're gonna stand up for our rights.
Come on. Get up, stand up.
Get up, we'll say.
Stand up for your rights.
Stand up for your rights.
Get up, stand up.
Get up and stand up.
Don't give up the fight.
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 Never give up the fight.
Whoa yo,
Whoa yo,
whoa yo, ho ho,
whoa yo, ho ho,
whoa yo,
whoa yo,
whoa yo, ho
whoa yo, ho ho.
whoa say,
Whoa say,
stand up today.
stand up today.
Whoa say,
Whoa say,
sacred African way.
sacred African way.
Come on, get up,
Stand up. Stand up for your right.
stand up for your right.
Get up, stand up.
Get up and stand up.
Don't give up the fight.
Don't give up the fight.
Don't give up the fight.